Yes, I think you may proceed to study on it.
Right, let me share my screen if that's possible. Right, is my presentation visible?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, doesn't seem to let me be on full screen at the moment. There you go, perfect. So, good morning, everyone. Nice to meet you all here today. We're here with Mr. Conrad DeMasi. Did I say that correctly?
Perfect. Yes.
Sweet. He's a co-founder and CEO of Provecho. Ooh. All right. So before we start to get to know you, and we love to know more about you, we want to see and if apologies. There you go. We would like to confirm if this is correct for you, because we found this in your LinkedIn, and we see that you are very much get your hands on almost everywhere, from data collecting, marketing managers, and to a co-founder and no solo. I would like to know how did your journey started? Let's start from Casita, which says here that you're a fellow.
Yeah. Who made these slides? Thanks for digging all this up.
It's one of our members. His name is Titan. Great man.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So this is, I guess, my life story in terms of things I've worked on. For context, I'm still, I guess at the beginning, hopefully, of my journey and working on things. I'm 25, so I'm pretty fresh out of college. And yeah, Casita was something that I worked on actually before college. I got an internship for this tiny house company in Austin, Texas. And yeah, that was I'd say the only real job I've ever had. And even that might be a stretch. But yeah, basically they were building these I guess they were 300-meter homes. So, pretty small homes that the idea was you could put them on a truck and bring them out everywhere, and you could stack them on top of each other and things like that. And so yeah, pretty cool to see that at an early stage.
Amazing. So this is something similar to an RV, but you can place it somewhere else?
Kind of like that. I mean, the idea was it was a standalone structure.
Or is it like Amazon house, where you bought a house online and you set it up?
I guess, yeah, a bit similar to an Amazon house now, which is pretty funny. Real quick, I was checking out Book It, and so it seems like you guys, are big into this sort of thing. And yeah, I guess you're buddies with my old professor, is that correct?
Ooh, which professor was that?
Ken Singer.
Yes. Ken and I are quite good friends now. So Ken has come to Bali. I think it was just before Christmas, in fact. It was a few months back. And we got to host him over. Oh, sorry, it was after Christmas, in fact. Yeah, Ken's been great. Ken's been welcoming in to reintroduce myself into the alumni experience at Berkeley. So it's New Year's Eve. Thank you. Yeah. So no, it's been absolutely awesure. I didn't know you were Ken's student.
I am Ken's student. Yes, the man, the myth, the legend, best mustache west of the Mississippi.
For sure. Yeah. This was Ken's students as start his own company. I think Ken is going to be a legend one day. He is going to have a sequence of entrepreneurs that originated from his tutelage, like the Michael Siebel at Y Combinator or something.
Yeah. No, I would put money on that for sure.
For sure. I would too.
Yeah.
I would too.
So just before I go into things to kind of know what to focus on and what's interesting, is this kind of a part of, and sorry if I pronounced the company name incorrectly, but is this a part of the management company, or is this also has to do with the university?
This company is predominantly and only one of the best property management company in Bali. Could be also Indonesia. Our game is mostly managing the properties here in Bali.
Got it. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was for Book It or for something with a university. So talking property things.
We do, however, work with a lot of universities to gain more people to come here and work together, and that's amazing. We got multi-talented people coming from all over Indonesia to work with us. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers and the YouTube videos. Good work, team. Good stuff.
And then, if you don't mind me continuing with your experience here, you're also a marketing manager. How did one start off as a fellow to a marketing manager? Yeah,
so I kind of bounced around in a bunch of random different things that it might seem like they have no correlation with each other, and that's because they don't. But yeah, I just kind of feel like there was things that would interest me, and I would try to sort of figure them out and get a job here or there and kind of learn that and then jump to the next thing. I actually grew up in Tamarindo, Costa Rica, which is, yes, I mean, obviously very different, but I think probably a lot of similarities with Bali, just in terms of tourism being a very big industry there, and people coming on vacation to surf or hang out or whatever it is. So when I was at Senderos, that was actually a housing development there, kind of high end. And I was actually tasked with basically creating an MLS, a database of all of the properties in the area because, that database didn't exist anywhere. So I was doing that and, doing a bit of marketing for them too and stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm pretty sure our marketing team here would have a lot in common with you when it comes to that. I'm sure that we have, like I said, amazing people here. And also, I can assure you the marketing team here also working similar case. I'm pretty sure of that. And then you're also a Berkeley SkyTech. And what is a Berkeley SkyTech?
Yeah. So this is it's called an incubator that they have at Berkeley. So I ended up going to Berkeley in 2019, studying undergrad there. And they have this program that like helps startups sort of get off the ground. I can't really speak too much to this. It was a while ago and it was this was kind of during the pandemic. So
I see.
Yeah. But I'll just kind of jump through a couple other things.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure our friends here in Costa would like to know more about the current endeavor you're going through. It's in Provecho, as you are the co-founder and CEO. And I would like to ask for, I guess, several questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's do it.
Great. So I'm pretty sure we've asked this before during your time in Casita. And, what do you think during your time in Casita in 2017 and 2019, what is still relevant today? Or perhaps even more urgent, what trends in the market that is still relevant today?
Yeah, this has been a long time since I've thought about this. But I think the big thing that they were trying to solve was the housing crisis. So, at least here, there's a lot of people that are homeless. Rent is just becoming more and more expensive. And it almost feels like some cities are like running out of real estate to actually put sort of living spaces. And so the idea with this was like sort of change the culture. They were all about like minimalism, living in like a much smaller place. And then in these casitas, these really small houses, the idea was like you could put it as an ADU in your backyard. That could potentially be like a place to live or maybe a place to Airbnb and make money from it. So yeah, I think that that's certainly still relevant. It certainly feels like there's a lack of supply, at least here. I don't know what it's like in Bali as much. I know it's been expanding a ton for the past decade or so, but yeah.
Definitely, yeah. There's quite a difference in terms of how properties are the market trends here in Bali and in the US at the moment. And if I'm not mistaken, there is currently housing crisis in the US due to the building and everything is not all right. But I'm pretty sure we can move that question to the Q&A session as we go deeper to other questions that we might want to ask.
That was good.
Yes, at No Solo, you focus on environmental awareness in a creative and grassroots way. I've seen the tagline that you have for No Solo, convince inebriated college kids to give a damn about the environment. What's behind that tagline, and how is it? Did you manage to influence people there?
Yeah, that's funny. It's been a couple of years since this too, but yeah, basically the idea with No Solo was we wanted Berkeley to become the first college campus without single-use plastics. And the idea was like, okay, a really small change over, tens of thousands of people, it can actually result in something quite impactful. And so we tried to come at it because sustainability, I feel like here is something that maybe with kids I think it's changing, but it wasn't always the coolest thing. And so our idea was like, okay, how do we make being sustainable cool? And I think we kind of went about that by like throwing all these events with metal cups. So we were like trying to create a rent a cup system, and we'd like have band nights and things like that. I think, I don't know, leadership wise, this was kind of the first time that I was like leading something. And I think one of the things that I realized is like, you really need to trust people. I would feel like I'm used to doing things sort of myself, and this is still something I probably struggle with, but you need to always try to think of like, okay, is this something that someone else could be doing? And in which case that could free me up of this time that I have. And then on top of that, is this something that someone else could be doing better than me? In which case you should 1,000% be getting that person into the right role.
Absolutely. You set the expectation and you delegate the responsibility, right?
Something like that. Easier said than done.
Absolutely. And Baji has told me multiple times regarding that. All right. Amazing.
Continue,
amazing.
man. This is great.
Well, next is we would like to know about the Provecho. Operates in the intersection of food and tech and content. I myself was a cook and love when it comes to finding a website that has a clear instructions how to make food and how to when it comes to the outlays, it's amazing. And what frameworks or feedback loops do you use to ensure the product continues meeting user needs meaningfully? As in, how do you retain people? How do you entertain people who read those?
Yeah. I think this is something we're trying to figure out every day still. I think that the best way is always going to be just talking to people like one-on-one. I think that there's just like no better way to get a pulse on the situation than sitting down, ideally in person with someone and just like going through it together with them. And so this is, Provecho has changed a lot over the years, but about 3 months ago, we launched this new product. And really what we're trying to create is like a Spotify for cooking, where it's one place that you can go to access all the recipes, all the inspiration you could ever need. And then as Mohammed, you were saying, like that place has no ads, it has no life stories, it has no kind of the traditional user experience that comes along with cooking. Just we want to be the polar opposite of that. And yeah, we still haven't really figured out like what necessarily the one thing that resonates with people is. I think we have a bunch of ideas in our head, and we always get a little bit closer to that maybe truth when we talk with people directly.
But do you ever have the issues where you have your own idea and the customers, your client, have other ideas and it clashes with your idea? Do you prefer your idea or do you prefer the client's input? How do you manage between your expectation and their expectations?
It depends. I think that's why it's important to talk to like a lot of different people. And I think if you hear the same thing 10 times over and over again, that'll give you reason to pause and think, oh man, maybe what they're saying is right. But it's very hard to just it's hard to just sum it up and say like, this works every time. It really depends on the context of it. And that's why I think that I always try to have, one-on-one conversations, because if you're doing a survey or even if you're just on the phone, like it's hard to understand why people say what they say. Whereas if you're actually sitting next to them and you can see like, oh, one thing that we get a lot is like, I want Provecho to be an app. Right now, it's just a website. And kind of digging deeper, it's not that they want an app because it's like a different experience necessarily. It's kind of the same thing, but an app, it like feels more permanent on your phone. You're like, it's going to be right there. Things like that. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I understand completely. Here in Bukit Fisa, we also have an application, Beefy Go, where we try to incorporate that with our clients essentially, and we try to get feedback from them, and we also try to improve it as we go to make sure that the experience for the users are as streamlined as possible without any friction, And we completely understand the feeling. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. So that's the end of our questions, and we still have a few minutes. I'm pretty sure here our friends in Busa would like to ask a few questions. I'm sure they're very much interested in how you do things over there.
That's good.
So does anybody has any question for Mr. Conrad? I guess we kind of answered all their questions throughout the interview or the hosting.
No worries.
I have a question. I'll get the ball rolling. So, hi, good to meet you. It's always good to speak to fellow Calbear. I didn't realize you're so. Yeah, go Bears. I didn't realize you're so early on your entrepreneurial path. 25 is a very, very young age. You are definitely more bold than I am. I think I began entrepreneurship probably in my late 20s, if anything. This one's for Rayhan, actually. So this is a good question. You went to business school. How much of what you learn in business school applies to what you do in real life now?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I actually take everything that I say with a grain of salt, I'd say. But I actually left business school to work on this full time.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
I think jobs.
Well, still waiting for that to work out. But I mean, I think that business school was a thing that it felt, especially this was, classes were online at the time. I think a lot of the reason that people go to business school is, the network or whatever.
Yeah.
And then most things you actually kind of just figure out on the fly. And so, I kind of started working on this, got a bit of traction early on, which of course then we've changed a million times and started over a bunch of times. But I kind of realized, and I was in a fortunate position where my parents were really supportive of it. Not everyone gets that. That sort of gift.
That's excellent. What would you then say is the biggest change in mindset happen as you left, let's say, Berkeley to do a startup? In your emotional experience, what was the biggest transition?
Yeah, I kind of think that, well, at least here in the US, kind of sets you up to not be very entrepreneurial. Like you're taught to
schools everywhere don't set you up to be entrepreneurial unless you
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point of testing in schools is like, okay, you're gonna learn a subject matter, try to sort of reverse engineer tests, get a good score on the tests, and then forget it all. And it's very normal to like try to be a total perfectionist and like really, sometimes tests will be set up to like try to trick you and like you need to be really, really perfect and on to get it.
Yeah.
I think that you need the opposite in business. Like you actually need to
Absolutely.
kind of jump off the cliff and build the plane as you go. And like, you need to, so many people go and start companies and they worry about all this shit that doesn't matter. Like they can, and I know this because I did it. I spent so many years doing it, like obsessing over, what are our brand colors going to be and how are our icons going to look? When the only thing that actually matters is like, are you creating something that people want?
Oh my God, I love it.
So
Great.
I love what you're saying there, Conrad. And this is a shout out to Bella because I read personal updates, right? Bella wrote, I think a few weeks back, that idealism in business is fatal. It's actually terrible. I see this actually a lot. I remember here, let me show you something. Here. This is a gift for everybody here. Speaking since you mentioned you're the Spotify of recipes, here's my recipe that I took on YouTube. I just recently started vlogging. And
awesome.
just to give you kind of like two dimensions there, Conrad. First dimension is we face this problem every single day with property owners who want to do something perfect with their beautiful new villa in Bali. And so instead of
just post the listing. Just post it.
Okay. Oh, thank you for the feedback. Let me make that listing more public so you guys can see it. Okay. So premiere done. All right. So you'll be able to see the YouTube video now. So that's number one. When we face this pushback every single day, we have to tell our partners who are owners of properties to just get it out there and get it seen. So we have endless fights over it. I think it's part of our entrepreneurial spirit versus their sort of show horse spirit. And then the second thing was, I remember seeing this YouTube video. We were in the very beginning, very, very obsessed with getting it just right. And then we realized, just get it out there, just start delivering. So just got in front of a camera and started talking. And all of a sudden the flywheel caught on. And I think it's taking off. And I realized that even as, let's say, an entrepreneur that has some success right now in Boca Vista, if you want to continue being an entrepreneur, you have to continue taking those risks. You have to continue going and being uncomfortable and getting something that's sort of imperfect out there. And I do see that. I see perfection is often the enemy of actually getting anything started in general. And it holds a lot of people back. Cool. Okay. So let me turn it back to Fasha. Fasha, amazing energy. You are definitely rising to the challenge. Yes.
Well, once again, we thank you so much for your time here today, Mr. Conrad. And we love to have you again. Maybe one day we'll have another all hands as we grow as a company, and yours too, And
appreciate it.
As a customary part of Boca Vista, we would like to invite you, if you would like to stay with us throughout this meeting and see how we operate as a company.
Thank you, guys. This was really a lot of fun, and thanks for the questions and good to hear about seeing you and Ken reconnecting. I actually have to go. I have to make dinner, believe it or not. But I'm excited
will
to
inspire you. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna get pumped up with that video.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for coming in. Conrad, where are you at the moment? Where are you located physically?
Physically, I have a feeling you're gonna like this. This is our apartment. This is our living room.
Nice. I love it.
My founder there. We together.
That's the way it should be. Two guys in an apartment. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I think we documented
the glory days.
I hope you go down in history and we caught you at your living room stage.
Hey, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I hope you guys go down in history and we'll expand the Costa Rican market one day.
For sure. Yeah, I noticed all your company names are in Spanish, so that's definitely something I think that was great. Are you in California or are you in Costa Rica right now, Conrad?
I'm in California. I'm in LA.
Okay.
And
right.
The Casita wasn't even my company. It just happened to be, that was random, but this one's
on a streak. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for coming in, Conrad. A pleasure.
All right, guys. Yeah. Nice to meet you all. And we'll talk again soon.
Nice to meet you too, Mr. Conrad. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Great. So thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And Bajing, thank you so much for handling Mr. Conrad there with great questions. Now we're going to move on to the of the meetings. We're going to go to vision and mission statement, which I'll hand over to you, Bajing.
Okay, listen up, everybody. There's not much that I need to say anymore. I've said it many times already. So we'll just give this time back to the rest of the senior leaders to show you the plan, okay? The main thing I want to actually emphasize is this. If there's any vision or mission that I think is important to talk about right now, it's about, recently I've been very inspired. I'll sit down for 3 minutes, and please cut me off when I go over my time, okay? But I'll talk about why I've been inspired. I just realized something. I realized that if you want to become really powerful, you can do whatever you really want to do.